Hello, my fellow skeptics and Christians. Jacob here. So, I made a video a while back in which I argued that there was only one reason why atheists really reject a God. And it has nothing to do with any miracle stated in the Bible. It has nothing to do with talking snakes. It has nothing to do with talking donkeys. It has nothing to do with Noah's flood. Okay? Because if we assume that a God exists, then every miracle stated in the Bible is automatically possible simply because God exists. Specifically, the God of the Bible who created all of space and time, who isn't subject to space-time, and who is eternal. God is eternal. So when someone asks you, how do we measure God? That's like asking, how do we measure infinity? How do we measure eternal? If we could measure God, if we could fit him in our little box of ideas, then it wouldn't be God, because God is an eternally space-timeless existing entity. So I kind of find it amusing when atheists say, well, how do we gain objective proof of the existence of God? Now, it's easy for us to deduct the idea of a God based on how creation works, based on the fact that space-time came into existence. So we know exactly what was needed for space-time to have come into existence. We know that whatever created space-time must have been eternal. It must have been always existing. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist in the first place. Secondly, it needs to have the ability to create space-time and matter. For that matter, it had to be able to create matter. Fundamentally, it had to be inherent in its existence for it to create space and time. So we deductively look at the criteria that was needed for space-time to have come into existence, and we use a deduction to come to the conclusion of an entity with these traits, with the ability to be eternal, to be space-timeless, not subject to matter, but who has the ability to create matter. And we don't even know if God perhaps in essence has some material essence to him, where he's kind of transparent, in which he can be both material or immaterial. But so this video is basically addressing my last video, because my last video had some analogies and ideas which were totally twisted and misconstrued, most of which I believe was done purposefully to try to hide my main argument. So my main argument is, to just sum up everything, is that everything else in the Bible can be true if simply God exists. And there are several arguments to prove why God exists, okay? And I'm going to leave some of those arguments down below in the description. I'm going to leave a few links there that hopefully you could take a look at and see that there's good arguments for the idea that a God does exist. I had made a lot of those arguments myself in several other videos, so I ain't going to go over them again here. So guys, I pray that you have a blessed day and you consider what I said in this video.